welcome back to my channel. My name is Staci-Ann Smiles, and today is another phenomenal Woman Wednesday right here. Every week is where you'll get your midweek motivational uplift based in biblical truth. And today's biblical truth is found in 1 Corinthians 7 verse 34, which reads, "His interests are divided. In the same way, a woman who is not married can be devoted to the Lord and holy in body and spirit. But a married woman has to think about her earthly responsibilities, how to please her husband, and how to honor God." Now, this video comes in like two parts. I'm going to be talking to my married women, and I'm going to be talking to my single women, or if you're engaged in a relationship. If you fall in that category, I'm talking to you. If you're married, I'm talking to you. So let's just get into it. I want to talk about this notion of being divided or distracted. Divided, not distracted, right? Now, this passage simply speaks about two different kind of women: a single woman and a married woman. And what it's saying is, when a woman is single, she can focus all her attention on pleasing God and honoring God. She's not distracted by any man. She's not distracted by a boyfriend or fiance. She can totally focus on God. She can give her all, withholding nothing from God. She can submit her mind, her heart, her body, and really please and honor God throughout her singlehood. That's a single woman. But a married woman, on the other hand, it's very different. A married woman is divided because she has to, one, honor God, please God, but she now has to focus on honoring and pleasing her husband. Now, this is not a bad thing. That division is not a bad thing at all. It's not a bad thing when your husband is God sent. And it's not a bad thing when your relationship, when your marriage is God ordained. Because at that point, when you honor your husband and when you serve your husband and when you respect your husband, you are still simultaneously honoring and pleasing God. Now, a married woman doesn't have as much time as a single woman does. A single woman has all the time in the world to pray and to fast and to spend time in worship and just to spend time in the presence of God. But a married woman, her time is now limited. She now has to find time to serve her husband, cook him dinner, and then find time to pray. Matter of fact, it's the other way around. She should find time to pray first and then serve. You know, a married woman, if you now have children, have to focus on raising and rearing your children, making sure your children's needs are met. So the time that she would have to pray and fast and devote to the Lord in her alone time, in her quiet time, is limited. It's not the same as a single woman. So many women, when they first get married and they have to learn how to juggle all these new roles, whether it's wife and mother or just a wife, she might feel like her relationship with God is suffering. She might feel like she's distracted by so many other things because she can't spend as much time in or with the Lord as she did as a single woman. I experienced this, transitioning from singlehood into now wifehood. You know, my time is now split. My time is now shortened as to the time that I would naturally spend with the Lord. But that does not mean you're distracted. The key to conquering the feeling of being distracted from your relationship with God is balance. You have to learn how to balance. You're juggling so many different things. You have to learn how to balance them. As married women, as mothers, you have to learn how to balance. Pleasing your husband is your main responsibility. But pleasing and honoring God is your top priority. And neither one of those things should be neglected. They should never be neglected. You have to honor God and love God and serve God, but you also have to serve, honor, respect, and submit to your husband. And neither one of them should ever be neglected. No matter what stage you are in life, pleasing God should always be your top priority. Whether you're single, whether you're married, whether you're in a situationship, whether you're engaged, whether you're just trying this thing out, it doesn't matter what season of life you are in. Pleasing God should always be your top priority. And this is a telltale sign for many things. This is why it's important to date, to marry a God-fearing man. It is so important. God will send us the right man, but it's still our responsibility as women to choose. When you date or when you marry a God-fearing man, he will not be a distraction to you. Because a God-fearing man, he'll be focused on honoring and pleasing God just as much as you. So for my single ladies, this is a telltale sign if you're dating the wrong guy or not. If he's not focused on honoring God, he's a distraction. If he's not focused on pleasing God, he's a distraction. If he says he's a believer, if he says he's a Christian, and he never wants to pray, he never wants to have devotion with you, he never wants to go to a worship service with you or have a worship moment with you, at some point, he's a distraction. He's the wrong guy. I'm telling you that right now, he's the wrong guy. And if he does not love God more than he loves you, he is a distraction. He's the wrong guy for you. I'm trying to help y'all ladies here. We got to discern these things. And I'll give you an example real quick. While I was dating my husband, my now husband, it was early on, midway of us dating, courting, I should say. And I remember I wanted to go out one night. I think I wanted to go get dessert or something. And it was a Monday night. And I said, hey, you want to, go out? I hit him up. And he said to me, no. He said no because he had to go to men's Bible study. And I was like, okay. I wasn't mad that he said no. I was actually excited that he said no because that was something I had prayed about. I wanted a man that loved God more than me. I wanted a man that would choose God, choose to honor God, because I knew that he would be the right one to cover me when it came time to it. I knew that I could always go to God about him if need be. So you want somebody who chooses God first, because then he can love you correctly. On the flip side, if you as women don't love God more than you love the guy you with, more than you love your husband, then you're the distraction. Then you become a distraction, because loving and honoring God is always the number one priority, because that sets the flow for everything else that you do. It sets you right. It aligns you with everything else in purpose. Too many women end up marrying their distraction or end up in some form of entanglement because they're afraid to be alone. And so they accept anything. Or too many women become a distraction because they aren't submitted to God first. The Word of God says we have to submit to our husbands as unto the Lord. So submitting to the Lord comes first. So if you're not submitted to God first, then you become the distraction. The beautiful thing about a godly relationship is, whether you're married or whether you're dating, the beautiful thing about it is you will be honoring God. That relationship is a vehicle that keeps you postured, and it glorifies God. When it's a godly relationship, when you fear God and when your husband fears God, when you fear God and when the person you're dating and hoping to marry fears and honors God. It is a godly relationship. It will be pleasing to the Lord, and it will keep you and your heart where you're supposed to be. If you're in an ungodly relationship, then you're distracted. If you're in an ungodly relationship, then you are distracted. My friend, you are distracted. So, for all my single ladies out there, let's turn on that discernment. We have to turn on that discernment so we don't get entangled with the wrong guy and become distracted, or we don't become a distraction. We don't want to be a distraction, nor do we want to be distracted. And for my married woman, you just have to find balance. We learn to juggle all these things, but you just have to find a balance where you can honor God, please God, but you can also submit, love, and respect your husband, and still simultaneously be in communion, be in alignment with God and His will for your life. So, ladies, I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you for being here with me today for another Phenomenal Woman Wednesday. I pray you are blessed. I pray that you understand that you can be divided and not distracted, that you should be divided, but your division should not be something that takes you away from the Lord. And you should never be distracted, but your priority should always be to please God, even if that's honoring your husband, even if that's in respecting and loving your husband. Your top priority should always be loving and honoring God first. So I love you until we meet again.